declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Jake El Gallo Paul.
I am having a very bad day.
Make sure y'all stay on point with
The Puncher's Point.
All right, y'all. After watching that depressing card, I must say that we are the Puncher's Pack. We are the Puncher's Point, and unfortunately, we are back with this fight card. By the way, before I get into it, first of all, let's not ever have another fight card on Netflix ever again. The service tonight for Netflix was trash. Doodle water, garbage truck juice, everything above this, it was trash. Do not, and I mean do not, hold another fight card on Netflix ever again. Trash. But aside from that, we have the depressing fight that we call a main event. Well, matter of fact, that y'all call a main event because it's not a main event to us. And that was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Yes, y'all. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. First round, Mike looked good, like he was coming out there fast. And then, of course, kind of like how I predicted, Mike would slow down. And because Mike slowed down, that caused Jake Paul to take over the fight, which had Jake Paul cruise to an easy unanimous decision. Who would have thought? But you know what? I'm aggravated. Tonight has been a whole fluster cluck, and we're just gonna get straight into it. So Mario, before I get to my strategy, how did you grade the strategy tonight? What was your overall grade for the performance tonight?
5. Now look, here's what I will say, okay? First of all, I do want to give my flowers to Mike Tyson. The man is 58 years old. Regardless of however you see it, he's 58 years old, and he lasted 8 rounds with Jake Paul. All right, got to give him credit. Jake Paul's 27, he's 58. So on Mike's side, respect to Mike Tyson. All right, he said that he wanted to prove to his family that he is special. Even though he didn't get this win, I'm sorry. How many 58-year-olds do you know that are stepping into a boxing ring? I can't name none. How many 58-year-olds do you know that are 228 pounds in top shape? I can't name many. Overall, there's a lot of things that I got to give Mike Tyson a lot of credit for. And there was one highlight I could take away from this fight, and I'm going to get to it. First off, let me start with Jake Paul, okay? In that first round, Mike Tyson came out very, very strong, okay? And I'm watching the fight. Mike Tyson, obviously with his peekaboo style and his lateral movement, he's doing a very, very good job. It seemed like he was kind of relying a little bit too much on that left hook. And the left hook just wasn't it just wasn't landing. Now, obviously, we've said in past episodes that one of Mike's weaknesses throughout his entire career is fighters that can move and got range. Well, Jake Paul's got some movement and he's got range. So that overall caused some trouble for Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wasn't really able to land punches like he obviously used to 20, 30 years ago. And on top of that, the movement, I feel like, was definitely struggling for Mike Tyson, especially now in this time in his life. What I really liked about Mike Tyson was there were times when Mike Tyson would push the pressure, and unlike many opponents, Mike Tyson kept his hands up. A lot of guys who fight Mike Tyson, they always fall for the fake to the body and come up with the right hand. And not gonna lie, Mike Tyson fell for that move a few times in this fight. But let's be real, man. Jake Paul's been in the ring with fighters, maybe not boxers, but he's been in the ring with fighters. Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz, Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, and it seems like each and every one of those fighters have fell for that trick. And Mike Tyson, I mean, there were a couple times where he did, but he didn't get clipped at like a lot of the other guys did. Now, before y'all in the comments are going to be like, well, that's because Jake Paul took it easy on him and yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. I do want to let you know that Jake Paul hit him with that punch a few times, and every single time he hit him with the punch, he couldn't land it flush. I do want to let you guys know that. It seemed like he was just at a distance, and he would land it, but he didn't land it clean. And that's what I'm trying to say. Now, why am I going to give Mike Tyson a lot of credit in this fight? Well, if you go back and you look at the total punches, the total percentage landed, okay? I know this was 8 rounds, all right? And I know it wasn't as many that a lot of people would have hoped for. But regardless, Jake Paul landed only 28% of his punches. He landed under 100 punches in this fight. I don't know about you, Breezy, okay? But Jake Paul clearly has fought many 10-round fights. He hasn't really fought a 12-round. He's fought many 10-round fights, and in those 10-round fights, he's had a decent success and a decent percentage landed. This fight, that didn't happen. In this fight, imagine fighting a 50-year-old man and you can't land 30% of your punches. Now you could look at that and you could be like, "Oh, it's because Mike Tyson's 58." But I say it's because that defense, and I'm going to say this right now. If you go back and look at the prediction episode, Breezy was right. I was wrong. I said that peekaboo style, it just seems like he's doing it at this point. He's not doing it to set nothing up. I was wrong. Mike Tyson's peekaboo style, I think, caused some trouble from Jake Paul, and it made it kind of tough for Jake Paul to land some punches, in my opinion. That's what I saw personally. Now, obviously, Mike Tyson's punch percentage was abysmal, obviously landing less than 20%. But did we really expect anything more? No. We didn't expect much out of Mike Tyson in this fight. As a matter of fact, he went the distance. I didn't expect him to go the distance. I didn't expect it, but he did. He went the distance. He went 8 rounds, and that's all I could have asked for. I said the least that I want is for Mike Tyson to go 8 rounds. I don't want Mike Tyson to be on the ground. And this is the first opponent that Jake Paul has fought where he hasn't knocked him down. Now, I feel like there were times where Jake Paul definitely didn't want to knock him down. He kind of held himself off a little bit. But overall, I mean, you could tell Mike Tyson was tired. You could tell he was exhausted after that second round. And to be honest with you, man, I mean, I give Mike Tyson all the credit in the world. 58 years old. He didn't have to step back into that ring. And unfortunately, this is going to be a loss on his record. Whenever we look at his record, we're going to have to see Jake Paul as an L. But what I can honestly say is, looking at this fight, it doesn't destroy his legacy like I thought it would have. If anything, I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of respect for Mike Tyson. 58 years old, tip-top shape. Going in there against Jake Paul is just father time is timeless. You know what I'm saying? And you can't beat that opponent. So it caught up to Mike Tyson, unfortunately. But overall, as far as strategy, I got to give it a 5. I don't think Mike Tyson used his aggression like he should have. I feel like he wasn't landing punches like he should have. And overall, as far as Jake Paul, I think what he could have did a lot better at was using that jab a lot more. I feel like there were times where he could have definitely went in and ended this fight early, but I think he chose not to. So overall, I got to give the fight strategy a 5.
I give it a 3. And before y'all get in the comments, well, matter of fact, I don't even think y'all gonna disagree with me on this one. I think y'all might actually agree with my take on this one. Here's the thing. I'm not surprised about the outcome. I'm just still upset at the fact that the outcome is what it is. And another thing, too, is did y'all have to humiliate Mike Tyson to the point where y'all showed the man's booty cheeks on camera? Why did y'all do that? Just look, okay. That was, to me, that was another thing that seemed off. Was y'all gonna turn the camera on his bare butt cheeks? But okay, whatever. This is Netflix, y'all. So I give it a 3. I wasn't really expecting Mike Tyson to really do anything spectacular or crazy. Now, yes, I did say that fight would go to the distance, and I did think it was going to be a split decision. I thought Mike Tyson was going to still land something in the inside, but at the same time, though, I kind of went against my own breakdown because I did tell y'all that Jake Paul was going to use his range. Y'all got to remember, Jake Paul is taller, and because Jake Paul is the younger, healthier, kind of more quicker on his feet type, he's going to keep Mike Tyson at the end of those punches. And even at times, he try to sneak in and come in and throw a few punches at times. But it wasn't nothing that wasn't necessarily like I didn't see coming or something that I wasn't expecting from Jake Paul. As far as Mike Tyson, I give it a 3 because it's like, at the same time, I'm not expecting anything too crazy because it's like he's nearly 60 years old. And because he's nearly 60 years old, and I had this conversation with many different people from work, from outside of the podcast, on the podcast, et cetera, and I said that, look, this is not the Mike Tyson from back then. This is a very much well version of Mike Tyson that's past that prime. And I told y'all that if he gets in the ring with Jake Paul, Jake Paul is going to obviously keep his range, and he's going to calculate his punches, and that's exactly what he did. And so, to me, it's all smoke and mirrors. It just seemed like the most common, basic game plan ever, and it worked because Jake Paul, kept him at the end, and basically he kept the range with him. But at the same time, though, I will say, as I did like how Mike Tyson tried to induce that, peekaboo pressure you type style in the first round, because that actually won him the first round. But this wasn't no surprise to the imagination to others, but more so just upset and hurt and just acceptance for what it was.
No, excuse me, 1000%. And I feel like with Mike Tyson in this fight, it was just a matter of, proving that he could go in there and do what he did. And I mean, again, I do got to give him a lot of credit. Look, hypothetically, this fight is rigged, okay? Hypothetically. I'm sorry, you can't rig landing a punch and missing one. You can't do it. So you know what? You can't say, oh, if you're rigging a fight, you can't go, oh, well, in this fight, we're going to land 78 out of 208. No. That's a flaw on Jake's era. That's a flaw on Jake's part. You're in their ring with a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. You couldn't land 30% of your punches. That just shows to me, what the whole narrative about Mike Tyson his entire career was he had this strong offense and he could knock people out. Nobody ever talked about his defense, and it was underrated. It was always underrated, his defense, in my opinion. This fight proved that peekaboo style is a very good defensive tool. And overall, I mean, credit to Mike Tyson because defensively, I thought he was very, very good. And when he did get hit with some shots, he got clipped, he got rocked, but it didn't seem like he got hit with. It seemed like he took those shots a lot better than all the other opponents that Jake Paul has fought, including Tommy Fury. Now, I'm gonna let Breezy wrap up his final thoughts before I get to the excitement part.
Now, I don't think I mentioned this, but word in the streets was that it was a stipulation in there where Mike couldn't knock out Jake Paul. And if he did in the first round, he wouldn't really necessarily get the money. And if he did so in the other round, he wouldn't get all his money. Whether that is true or not true, wouldn't put it past Jake Paul knowing the kind of stupid stipulations he's put in his fights. But I will say this too, though. I'm proud of Mike Tyson for going in there and lasting all 8 rounds. Mike Tyson, I know you probably will not see this, but if you somehow in the future come across this video, from the puncher's point, from me and Mario, we are proud of you, and we're here to say you've done a hell of a job in boxing. Thank you. As far as Jake Paul, screw you.
If there's any respect I can give to Jake Paul, it was those last 10 seconds of the fight where he gave him a bow and he was like, we're just gonna end it here. He could have went in. He could have decided to kind of like swing, go blow for blow. But I gave him respect for kind of just taking the bow and being like, props to you, Mike, and then just ending it the way it was. But anyway, we're gonna go to excitement. Excitement, I mean, it's a 5, man. In the beginning, I kind of had like this nervousness, like, gosh, what if Jake Paul really knocks this guy out? And what if, he ruins the legend of Mike Tyson? That didn't happen. As the fight went on, I was still a tiny bit nervous, but at the same time, I was like, well, I mean, he didn't like I didn't feel as nervous. You know what I'm saying? I felt like Mike was gonna go after the 5th and 6th round. I was like, okay, this is gonna go to distance. I mean, but overall, I mean, I give it a 5. There wasn't really too many exciting moments in this fight. It wasn't like Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, which we will cover in a separate episode. And overall, look, I was wrong about the fight of the night. Mario Barrios and Ramos. That was the fight of the night right there. Let me tell you something. That was a good fight. And unfortunately, we couldn't get to cover it, but luckily for us, it ended in a draw, which means the next time they fight, we will cover it. So overall, man, as far as excitement for this fight in itself, I give it a 5. There wasn't really anything exciting. There wasn't really no back and forth action. It was just 2 guys in the ring. One that was 58 years old, and the other one who thought he was fighting a prime Mike Tyson. And they just went into the ring and Jake outclassed him. But that's also because he's 30 years younger. And honestly, this was a cherry pick fight, if you ask me. So I give it a 5.
Y'all want me to be honest? Do y'all want me to be honest on my excitement for the fight? 1. I'm telling y'all the God honest truth. I had no excitement for this fight. Even when I first saw the fight poster before I got my hair cut, I said this is some bull-ish. Okay. No, like there was nothing exciting about this fight. Maybe the only exciting thing you can say was that, Mike Tyson slapped Jake Paul, and that was at the weigh-in. But that's about it. I'm just telling you the God honest truth. One, there was nothing exciting about this fight. There's nothing exciting about this Ellen DeGeneres lookalike fighting a senior citizen at all. Nothing about it is exciting. It is just terrible. He should be getting smacked upside his head for even picking Mike Tyson. This was trash and terrible. One all the way. Big old fat one.
The fat one. uh, and look, yeah, no, I gave it a 5, honestly. I thought it had some moments of like excitement or like anxiousness, but nothing crazy. Now, stakes. What was that stake? I'm not gonna lie. Stakes might have, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna give stakes a 6. And here's the reason why. Let me explain. The stakes from Jake Paul was basically if he lost this fight, he was never gonna hear the end of it. You got beat by a 60-year-old. The stakes for Mike Tyson is what if he does beat Jake Paul? Now, none of that stuff actually happened. So we got to look at the stakes as what did happen. They had an 8-round fight. Jake Paul looked lackluster. Mike Tyson looked lackluster. Therefore, it takes Jake Paul out of the whole, if there was any conversation about it. Even Jake Paul knows it's not going to happen. But basically, any stakes for big fights, Canelo, out the window. Out the window. You know what? Maybe you might get a rematch with Tommy Fury. Maybe. Okay? Possibly. All right? Stay away from Jai Opetaia. Stay away from Billiam Smith. Stay away from Zerto Ramirez. We don't want to see any of those fights with you. Basically, the stakes here, I'm going to give it a 6. And the reason why is because when you really look at what was actually on the table, I mean, both of these guys are going to make a boatload of money. You know, obviously with Netflix being the host of this, and we all know how that turned out. That was terrible, but it got so many eyes on the fight. Overall, they sold out like everybody knew they were going to. I think it brings more eyes on Mike Tyson than there were, so he gets more popularity, which probably helps him with sales and everything like that in the future. As far as Mike Tyson, it gives him a new profound respect. You know, we don't know too many boxers at 58 years old stepping into the ring. It's just a matter of the fact we don't. So overall, I mean, at stakes, I gotta give it a 6. I think there were some stakes that came out of this, and there were some things that were on the table. And I think overall, I feel like the stakes, overall, I just gotta give it a 6. I feel like there were some things on the table that were definitely important, but it wasn't anything too huge. Or there was no titles. There was no like. This wasn't gonna help Jake Paul's legacy in any way. If anything, it was gonna hurt it. So I give it a 6.
I give it a 3. And that's being generous. The only thing that was really in stake was could Mike Tyson go 8 rounds and Jake Paul's ego. I don't think whether Jake Paul knocked out Mike Tyson or he did, I don't think he's going to get any kind of attention from Canelo anytime soon. He's better off having a whole full-on conversation with a brick wall before even thinking that he's going to get some kind of notoriety from Canelo, okay? So I get it's about a good solid 3. There was nothing really much to gain. All this was just an ego booster for Jake Paul. Now he's going to run his dragon tail self around here, and he's going to tell you, and all of us that he's the greatest boxer of all time because he whooped the senior citizen and Mike Tyson. So the only thing that was really in stake was his damn ego. That's about it.
Now look, let's stay on the Canelo topic a little bit, okay? Listen, Jake Paul, this is for you. And this is not us hating, this is us being honest. We heard you say, after I beat Mike Tyson, I am calling out Canelo. Explain to me why you didn't call out Canelo, though. I'm just asking. Explain to me why you did not call him out. I know why you didn't call him out. I'm going to tell y'all right here on the Puncher's Point. It's because Jake Paul, even though his giant-ass ego, okay, is just filling him deep down in his heart, he knows that if he knows that he had struggles with Mike Tyson. I'm going to be real. Like I said, you cannot fake stats. You can't do it. Numbers don't lie. So when you clearly only landed, here's the thing. Let me be honest with you, Breezy. Suppose we have a staged fight, okay? If I wanted to, I could just keep doing this. If it was meant for me to win all along, I could just keep doing this and hit you with a jab. And I don't have to put no power behind it, right? So explain this to me. How come when the stats showed up, there was only 28% landed? Okay, I don't think Jake Paul was intentionally missing with his punches. I don't think that's what was happening. I think that peekaboo style and that movement caused him some trouble. And I think Jake Paul couldn't get the success from landing those punches like he thought he was going to against Mike Tyson. Now, when he did land some crisp punches, and Mike Tyson took him well. There were times where he got pushed back a little bit, Mike Tyson, or maybe a little bit rocked, but he took him well. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I really didn't see Mike Tyson in any huge danger. So he took him well. I think personally, Jake Paul knows after this performance, he's not ready for Canelo. Because you ain't going to beat Canelo with no freaking 28% landed. And last but not least, Canelo does not need you by no means at all. None. Okay? He doesn't need you at all. If Canelo wanted to, he could go fight David Benavidez and make close to 50 million. Now that's a whole different story for a different time. But he could make 50 million off of David Benavidez. He could make 50 million off of Terrence Crawford if he wanted to. He don't need you. So stop it. But as far as impact, I'm gonna be real. One, this doesn't affect the sport of boxing. The only thing that I could think of is it brings more eyes to it. You know what? Actually, I changed my score. I'm gonna give it a 3. It brings more eyes to the sport of boxing because so many people know who Mike Tyson is. So many older fans remember the legend of Mike Tyson, so that brought them back today. So now at least they know about Jake Paul. Or if they actually stayed for the entire event, now they know about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, but that's for the event in itself. As far as the fight in itself, 3. I think it brought back some older fans. You know, they probably know who Jake Paul is now, but yeah, 3 impact. Because I'm sorry, this doesn't get Jake Paul to a world title. As far as Mike Tyson, this doesn't affect his legacy, in my opinion, in any way. It doesn't negatively affect it as much as I thought it would. And overall, I don't see the impact in Mike Tyson's career or what this does for the sport of boxing. So 3.
1. Actually, a lot of people are saying that they're done watching boxing. So congrats, Jake Paul. You brought old people back to watch Mike Tyson, but you didn't also pushed a lot of people away for your trash ass cherry picking ways. So congrats. You get another big fat 1. Yes, it's a 1. Yes, that's all he got is a 1. Because I'm telling you right now, go on Twitter right now. People are upset. Matter of fact, a lot of people are kind of done with boxing as it is right now. We're kind of already not getting the fights that we wanted. You think this is going to help boxing, Jake Paul? Do you think this is going to help boxing? Because I'm telling you right now, it's not going to help boxing one bit. So you lucky I ain't give you a 0, but I'm going to give you a 1, a big fat 1.
Look at Breezy being so generous. Now, as far as the fight grade, a whopping 3.38. That is our lowest graded fight, I think, ever. Yeah, from season 3 and 4, 3.38. That's where it's at. And you know what? We could say the impact is really high because it negatively affects boxing, but we're not going to give you a high score because you messed up the sport of boxing. No. And on top of that, it's going to get even more messed up tomorrow when the GOAT, John Jones, and the heavyweight GOAT, Stipe Miocic, get in that ring one more time. It's going to mess up boxing even more because Dana White's just going to be like, after you had that clown show for boxing, look what we're doing right here in the UFC, which is going to bring more fans back over there. And honestly, I ain't got no problem with it. At least the UFC is doing something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're not doing this. So overall, 3.38, yeah, that's where it belongs, honestly. This was bad. Now, the whole question is, well, if Canelo's not next, then what's next for Jake Paul? And this is where we're going to get serious. Does he go back on the boxing route and try to move up in the ranks to possibly get a world title shot like he said he wanted to be a world champion? Does he go and he fight KSI? Does he get the rematch with Tommy Fury? What does he do? Does he go after some of these influencers, some of these celebrities and try to make more money? Or does he go after some of these real boxers and try to climb up the rankings? Breezy, I'm going to start with you. What do you think should happen next for Jake Paul?
He's going to grab another old legend, but this time they just not going to be as old as Mike Tyson. Watch what I tell y'all. Either it's going to be another old UFC fighter or some kind of old fighter, whether it's in bare knuckle combat or boxing. They're just not going to be as old as Mike Tyson, but he's going to grab another old fighter. Just watch what I tell y'all. Yes, he's going to grab another old fighter as usual.
So I don't think it's possible that Jake Paul is going to climb up the heavyweight division or climb up the cruiserweight division. I don't think that's possible. I don't think he's going to get the winner of Zerto and Chris William Smith, or he's not going to get Jai Opetaia anytime soon, and he's not ready for it. And I'm being honest, he's not ready for it. Okay, and this is no hate. He's not. If he was, I would have said, I hate to say it, admit it, but it's time for him to climb. It's not. I think personally, I hate to say it, but he's not going to get KSI anytime soon. I just feel like they're just disagreeing on the weight. I don't think it's going to happen because of that. Best route, go after Tommy Fury. You know, try to get your get back. Try to reclaim the only loss you had against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury, he said that there's been times where Tommy Fury called him out, and Jake Paul was like, you missed your chance, buddy. Blah blah blah. Well, I think you should go back to that fight because deep down, I think Jake Paul wants that rematch, and I think him and Tommy Fury would be a good fight. And honestly, the reason why I want to see that fight is because that would be an actual test to see how Jake has improved from the first Tommy Fury fight to now. And I said it before this fight that Jake Paul was improving fight by fight. I said it before this fight. Now I'm questioning it. So we get this rematch, and let's see where Jake Paul is now in his career. Has he gotten better? Has he gotten worse? And the best way to find that out is to go against the opponent that you lost to, who is still have the same skill set. So overall, the best fight for him to make is Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Now, as far as Mike Tyson, what should happen next for him? Mike, you're a legend in the sport. You'll forever be Iron Mike Tyson. You proved a lot in this fight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of fans, I think they grew a new respect for you. You know what I'm saying? I honestly think Mike Tyson, I just think you should stick to the business aspect of it. I think you should stick to kind of training some young fighters and being the grandpa of boxing. And I mean that in a respectful way. Being the man of wisdom in boxing and basically just, being everybody's favorite fighter. You know what I'm saying? You are a living legend. You know, we had Muhammad Ali for some time and then he unfortunately passed away. The living legend in boxing is Mike Tyson. And so I feel like he should just stay with being the living legend and being the likable Mike Tyson that he is. So overall, definitely stay in the gym, definitely keep on boxing, keep that workout, you know what I'm saying? It helps the body. You look great, man. But before he accepts any fights, and I mean realistic fights, if he wants to do exhibitions with Evander Holyfield, feel free, all that type of stuff. But I think Mike Tyson should definitely kind of like take a little bit of a break from boxing. And I think he just go back to doing what he was doing, which is just enjoying life. But overall, Breezy, what I know you said he picks out an old fighter. Now, before we wrap this up, is there any last thoughts on Mike Tyson or Jake Paul before we end up closing this episode?
Once again, Mike Tyson, thank you for everything, man. You are a legend. Like Mario says, you're basically the grandpa to boxing. No offense, but you're basically like the head leader of boxing. You're basically like the start of the family tree of boxing for the new generation. As far as Jake Paul, I still don't like you. And if anybody want to say, Breezy, you're hating this episode, yes, I was absolutely hating this episode. I am most certainly proud to admit I'm a proud hater of Jake Paul. Yours truly, Breezy from the Puncher's Point. I still don't like you. I didn't like you then. I don't like you now. I damn sure don't like you now. And from now on this point, that's all I got to say.
And I mean, with that, I say we cap it off. Look, this event was everything that we expected it to be. I mean, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, despite all that, we're gonna get to that. We'll definitely review that. We haven't forgotten about it. But overall, I mean, the event, in my opinion, it was a loss. And Netflix, for the last time, next time, if you ever have a fight, first of all, please don't ever have a fight ever again. But please, maybe you should think it through. A streaming service relies on internet, and when many, many people go on the same site, it kind of crashes, the internet. So, like, think that through real quick. Okay? And I hate to say this. I really, really do. Call me crazy. Y'all gonna hate me for this. I don't care. It's times like these where fights need to cost money. And I'm not saying make it cost $80. No, no, no. But a simple like, hey, you want to watch this fight? Pay $10. Something. Okay? Because there were too many dang people with a Netflix subscription that was watching this fight. First of all, okay, I'm just saying this right now, Netflix. Next time you have an event, please, please, please think this through, okay? Because it kept lagging, and y'all gotta fix it. But I agree with Breezy. Never have a fight again, okay? Stick to the WWE contract. You know what I'm saying? Stick to all that. But please, never ever have a fight again. That was bad. And I don't understand why y'all are lagging when Prime Video does Thursday Night Football every single day or every single Thursday, and they don't lag one bit. Explain that to me. But you know what? It's whatever, Netflix, all right? And for all the people that went to the fight, I'm glad y'all enjoyed the fight. I'm glad y'all got to watch it without the lag. Okay? So, you know what? With that being said, we're going to be right back here with Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. We're going to be right back here with the post-fight episode to Chris Billiam Smith versus Zurdo Ramirez. You guys don't want to miss any of that. My bad. Gilberto, we're going to be right back with Zurdo versus Chris Billiam Smith. And overall, man, I mean, look, it's been a very, very busy couple weeks for the Puncher's Point. We're happy to kind of wrap the week up, but we're also happy that we got in a lot of great content that has kept us busy. So with that being said, we're going to say it one more time. Y'all got to keep tuning into the Puncher's Point. And last but not least, make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.
What's good, y'all? Y'all know what it is. It's the Purchase Point. We live every week. Make sure y'all tune in with us. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. And y'all already know what to do. Make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.